I kind of debated. Do I want to do this video? I'm like, well, I'll just give a quick disclaimer that even though it's interesting and it makes sense, I don't agree with it. I just did a Mark Taylor video about his Supreme Court thing, and he said we are going to have a strong, booming economy with President Trump under the helm. That was his vision. It was his thing from God. And even in the latest Greg Hunter interview, he's like, well, how? You know, we've got $21 or $22 trillion in debt. We also have another missing $21 trillion. We have all these things, all this debt. How is this going to be dealt with? Are they going to default? Is there going to be a reset? And Mark said, look, I never got the answer. I'm not going to, you know, so I can't just say, but he's like, I never was told, is it a reset? Is it, you know, whatever. I don't know. He goes, but I saw, you know, the vision was that we are going to have a strong, booming economy. Our dollar is going to be, you know, fine. And Greg was just kind of like, you know, having a hard time. Well, how, you know, like, how can this be with all this debt, you know? Which he's right to ask that. I mean, how? I say the same thing. And then what about all the unfunded liabilities, Social Security, pensions, and certain things that aren't even included in some of that they like to hide over here on the, you know, the unofficial numbers. Next thing you know, you're up to, you know, they, again, estimate 70, 80, $100 trillion. And then you add the derivatives and think, oh, you know, we've got $1 quadrillion in debt in the whole world. Okay, but how about US dollars? Probably more than 100 trillion, I'd say. But again, you know, the other day, Greg Manarino, he called me a few times, Bitcoin ban, oh, the markets, man, oh no. And I said, you know, I can't, you guys make sense. Everything you're saying is dead on. I mean, I can't even argue at all. You're right. But there's just something else that is not going to allow this to happen. Sure, we'll have little ups and downs. Even my mom was telling me for a bunch of times, as long as that man is in office, yeah, we're going to have a little issue, but it'll just ultimately, it's going to chug right along. And I'd ask her, no crash at all? She's like, well, I see maybe one kind of, but I don't know if I'd call it a crash, but it'll just go back. It'll pick up. So I thought, oh, you know, okay. And that was a while back. You know, that was probably in 2017 when I started talking to her about that. Because she had told me, so I, you know, was interested in it. But, I mean, just to give you an idea, let me look at, this is the 1 year. I just want to share this with you. This is the 1 year chart. You know, started at what, 25.7 over here, technically 24, whatever, got it 25. Over here we hit this 26. And then we have this. And I always thought this whole time, like, I wonder if this is the thing my mom talked about. We had a little dip, but then nope, it's going to go back again. As long as Donald Trump's in there, she says, I don't see that. I think my friend Bill was even asking her when he got his first reading at my house. Bill, maybe he can chime in and ask, yeah, Joe, that was right, you know, or in the comment section. But it was either the first or second reading because he got two different times, but I think it was the first time. And he asked about the economy and, you know, crash, and she's like, as long as Donald Trump is in office, I don't see it. I do not see that happening. She said, and then I said, well, he's asking now. It's not me, and I didn't tell him to ask. She's already told me that a while back. She's now, and it wasn't, if I recall when she was giving him the reading, it was more like they were on the subject a little bit, and then she just went off and said, look, as long as, you know, Donald Trump, that's not happening. Which kind of answered his question anyways, but it wasn't a direct thing, but she just felt like saying it. I remember hearing how it went. I was like, well, she said it again. Not that my mom is the, you know, the guru oracle, but my dad just had someone on Telegram. I think it was Telegram. Oh, it was in Ben Matrix Portfolio's Telegram, and someone was like, hey, Joe, got a ring for your mom, and it was great. It was good. I was like, because he was asking me, did you still do your Litecoin thing? Did you get back in? Nope, I did not. And, you know, waiting for this dump. And just speaking of that real quick, I think, we'll see. I don't know. I have no proof of this, but that rising the other day of Litecoin, that, you know, was like 30% move. 30%. Jumped up a little bit today even. Another 6% right now. $46. It was just 42, 43. And you know the old saying, the harder they, you know, the harder they, what is it? The harder they hit, the taller they are, the harder they hit, the harder they fall, whatever. I was like, I just pulled a bush on you. Screw me once, shame on you. Screw me twice. Well, you're not going to screw me twice. Right. But I'm thinking when the dump comes, will Litecoin get hit harder? Because then the FOMO goes the other way. Oh, the dump in here. And then when it flies out of it, who knows? But I will be doing a slightly different move than just getting all my Litecoin back at some point. I am splitting it between another coin. Whole different discussion for another time. Back on track. The debt thing. The trifecta of national, corporate, and consumer debt has reached all-time highs and could prove to be catastrophic if a recession hits. Again, I don't think a recession's going to hit with Trump at the helm. Everybody was calling for a panic the other day, and I can't even argue with the stuff they're showing me at all. Like, yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, I know. I saw the numbers. Yeah, I know. Unbelievable. Yeah. It's insane. We're at like a level where the thing should just blow up. I know. But it went right back up. Boop. Right back up. We're at 25 again. 25,000. What was the high? 26. 26.8. It was the all-time high of the, well, actually all-time high ever, but I'm looking at the yearly chart anyways, but we're at, it was just 25.4. It's now 25.169, whatever. Anyways, I'm not concerned as long as Donald Trump is in there. Now, Mark Taylor did say, he goes, I'll tell you this on your show, Greg, Greg Hunter. There's going to be another Trump in the White House. A different Trump. What? So basically, and look, this isn't anything that I don't think you or I would argue with. Trump's going to get 2 terms. Therefore, he can't run a 3rd term. His son, in my opinion, Donald Trump Jr., the one who's very active on Twitter, dark-haired one, right? Because there's Donald Trump Jr. and then there's the other, Eric Trump. Not Eric, because Eric's not as vocal. I mean, you can see Donald Trump Jr. just all over this. I remember tweeting him right, like early. Hey, look forward to when you run. You got my vote, like, done. Look forward to when you take over for your father. Done. So we got quite a ways of, I think, prosperity. And even Mark, Taylor said the same thing. Look, I saw a very, very prosperous United States under Trump. He said back in 2011 when I got this, that Trump's going to run and win. Like, he's going to be the president. He's going to fix all this stuff. Yeah. Yes. So anyways, just I'll read a little bit because it needs to be said. It's true. The data's real. But I wouldn't get in the mode we used to be in prior to Trump of, oh crap, that's going to blow up and this is going to happen. I got to say, times are different. They control so much these days with the little click of mouse buttons and everything else. They can buy the debt. They can move the debt, print dollars, print treasury note. No, everything's fine. Gold price up, $14. No, it's silver. Sorry, silver. $14, $15. Oh, back down 13. Oh, damn. $1,400 gold. Oh, back down 13. They control everything. So, which also means they can destroy it. And then, global economy recession kicked in. We didn't know. But they actually did know. They helped it come right along. But the opposite is true. Use your tools, your manipulating tools, to do good. And again, I think under Trump, that's what they're going to do. I personally think we will be on a gold-backed currency backing somehow or another. There will be some attachment to precious metals, gold, etc., to our dollar, whether a new dollar comes out, same dollar, whatever it is. And all this gold we didn't realize we had is shown that we actually do have it. Like what Biggs talks about and maybe other ones we didn't know about. And oh my gosh, everything's revalued in gold dollar. He who has the gold makes the rules. China, you guys and Russians were buying all the gold all those years. In the U.S., came out massively on top. Well, we had a little stash we recounted and we had a stash we didn't know about, that old chestnut. And Max Kaiser the other day in one of his shows said, they were talking, all the central banks on the world, basically, he said, we just got the numbers. They bought more gold this year than I think ever before in history of gold buying. I think that was his quote. Central banks bought more gold than they've ever bought at any other time this year. Well, I say this year, maybe it was in 2018, because I don't know if he was quoting like the numbers from 2018. I mean, we're only in 2 months into 2019, so we obviously couldn't have bought the most so far this year. So I assume he was talking about 2018. What's that about? Right? And I always told you, look, I remember I was like, man, if Litecoin gets under $99, man, $100, gosh, I may have to unload some silver. I don't need to, but maybe I should, And then it happened, as you saw where the price went, $22. Now it's 40 today, 46. I just couldn't touch my silver. I could not touch my silver. Something was just stopping me every single time I even thought about it. And now it's at the point where I don't even think about it. Like, not happening. There's no reason for me to get rid of my silver. So let's leave it. I'll end this by reading you a little bit more of the numbers. But again, like I said, I almost didn't do the video just because I don't believe in it. Even though it's right. The numbers are right. Holy crap. We're in a different time now. They will deal with this. But anyways, in just the short decade since 2008, the debt has jumped from 10.6 trillion to 22 trillion. It also comes with a deficit that is currently over 1 trillion right now, currently. The interest payments alone may be forming a black hole from which the U.S. may never escape. These facts alone should raise concern in any interested observer. Corporate debt. The total amount of corporate debt has never stopped rising since 1950. Corporations have taken on a record level of debt since 2007. You can see the steady rise in the chart here, which doesn't matter. One of the main problems with this type of debt, aside from getting repaid, is that some corporations are using it to buy back shares of stock. Instead of this sleight of hand, you'd think they should be using it to fund growth and create jobs. Nope. We got shareholders. We want to show that our stock is valuable. But one thing is certain, the piper will need to be paid at some point. When that happens, who knows what can happen to the economy. Consumer debt is near $4 trillion and has been rising steadily since 1975. But it has risen a staggering 47% since just 2008 and shows no signs of stopping. The chart below reveals this economic ATM at work. Blah, 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 whatever. Billionaires sound the big warning alarm. Mainstream media almost never hype a financial crisis, so it's significant when they do. But when billionaires are sounding the alarm, you might want to pay close attention. At least 2 billionaires are doing just that, starting with Bupist Group Seth Klarman. And that group is a $28 billion hedge fund, and Klarman normally positions himself out of the limelight. His fund is only open to private investors, so he has little incentive to promote his brand to the public. But recently, he felt the need to write a warning to investors about the global debt, with specific reference to the U.S., according to Sovereign Man. In a post in a 22-page letter to investors, he warned that government debt levels, particularly in the U.S., where debt exceeds GDP, could lead to the next global financial crisis. The seeds of the next major financial crisis, or the one after that, may well be found in today's sovereign debt levels, he wrote. Who's the other person? Who's the other billionaire? I don't see the other person he mentions. Clairman. Oh, Ray Dalio. Yeah, we know him. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, Ray Dalio, founder of the world's largest hedge fund, said the debt would be to blame for the next downturn, which he believes will be bigger than the Great Depression. The biggest issues is that there is only so much one can squeeze out of a debt cycle, and most countries are approaching those limits, he said. Again, which is true. So are we going to have some issues with that stuff? I mean, the answer is, well, yeah. Are some people going to get burned? I mean, somebody has to somehow. But is it going to be, oh, we were in a recession? Or no, we just chug along. Again, when I look at the numbers, simple, 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. Yeah, we got a problem. Yeah, how are we going to keep paying this debt, this interest on the debt? What if a lot of it's found fraudulent? What if the debt is found to be fraudulent? Trump, Federal Reserve, hey, what was happening here? We found a scandal. We uncovered this information. Bailout 2008, all of it. We got you guys, and it just gets wiped out somehow. But again, typically you don't get the bailout. You got to keep paying because this is a debt-based society and they need you to keep paying. Banks need that recurring revenue. My wife saw a statement, mortgage statement the other day. Have we really paid that much in interest so far? And that little bit on the principal? Yeah. Yeah, it's about 2-to-1 ratio. Correct. Yeah. I'm paying twice as much as far as, again, like let's say $15,000 in principal and, it was like $6,000 something in principal, excuse me, and $15,000 in interest. But I thought I got a 4% interest rate, man. 4% interest rate. That's a good rate, man. Guess not. Still doesn't matter, does it? Even a little 4%. Yeah, but it's 4% on the total value and it's annualized. Okay. And the money they gave you is somebody else's money anyways. The bank. And that somebody else they got the money from, they're paying them a fraction of a percent. Savings account. Keep it in there. If you go below $10,000 in your savings account, you don't qualify for this account anymore. Which means what? You don't get your fraction of 1% interest. I think I'd rather have my money to do what I want to do when I want to do it with it. Thanks. Yeah, so anyways, while I read you something that's very much true, the numbers are accurate. Well, they're probably worse, actually. I just don't know if we're going to have this bad crash that so many people think is going to happen under Trump's watch. Take care.